Thank you for your patience. I've had some changes in my life outside of readings, and adjusting that schedule to meet everyone's needs energetically has been interesting. So thank you for your patience. I'm definitely feeling like the main message here is figuring out where your energy is leaking in terms of your work commitments. And how to refine those relationships. So with the Seven of Cups and the Six of Pentacles, I feel like there's this misunderstanding. Okay, I don't know why it's coming through as a misunderstanding because, right, the Seven of Cups can be confusion, can just be like we have, you know, a lot of potentials and maybes and what is it in the air. But there's some type of misunderstanding and confusion about where we're sending our energy and what is feeding us and what is not. Okay, because with the Two of Cups and the Queen of Swords as well, it's like you understand what is required, right? Especially with business, especially with creating new opportunities, especially with taking advances and seizing opportunities. You understand what a successful partnership is built on. I don't think that's up for debate with you. And again, any type of partnership, but particularly ones that reap you financial reward and stability. Okay? That could be business, that could be whatever. You know what it takes to refine your relationships. You know what it takes to have relationships where everyone is communicating clearly and whatnot. But there's something over here with this Seven of Cups and the Six of Pentacles that says that it's almost like when it's not one-on-one, when it's not just interpersonal between two people, when it involves a group, when it involves a multitude of factors, you enter some type of gray area where you can't really discern what the particular issue is. It's like you can't pinpoint it. It's like, okay, I know it's over here, but where in that, right? Because the Six of Pentacles asks us to make sure that everything we put out is getting reciprocated and that we know who's in charge of what also. Because the Six of Pentacles shows someone in power distributing that power, right? So it's important to know what feeds you. And there are certain things in life that feed our confusion, and there are certain things that feed our potential, right? So I feel like that's the discernment you're having to come into this month. And with the Three of Pentacles here as well, again, there's a need to learn how to collaborate with more than the other. We also have the Three of Cups here too. So it's like, potentially, I think that you need to reconvene with yourself on what type of future you want to have or what you want your future to look like and what relationships you do have in your life as a model right now where you feel 100% fulfilled, where you feel 100% heard, where you feel like everything is grounded, you don't have to make a lot of questions about it. And then learn how to model other relationships off of that, okay? All right, Libra. Quick reminder that I do mid-month check-in readings as well as love readings, and all that info is in the description box. Obviously, as well as private readings, and now is a good time to get a year ahead reading. All that info is in the description box. My schedule, again, is a little bit altered right now, but there's still plenty of availability. So, Libra. First of all, this is a really good reading because you have both of the wish cards here with the Star and the Nine of Cups. And if I remember correctly, Aquarius also got Justice. So I do think that Aquarius season is when you will start to see breakthroughs. So the second half of January into February. And, you know, our overall energy is the Six of Wands. So I feel it's time to capitalize on your strengths. Okay. Your business savvy, your innate talents that go beyond what you learned in school, that go beyond what you, learned on the job. Because the thing is we can learn a lot of skills in the job that are insanely valuable, right? We can learn a lot of things in our life, but our personal touch, what we bring to it in particularly, is what sets us apart. And, you know, when we write a resume or something, sometimes it's hard to convey that. Let me shift this a little bit. Sometimes it's hard to convey why you are so much more special than other candidates, or what you have that you bring to the team, or what you have that you bring to the table that is just so amazing that you could not replicate it. But with the Six of Wands here, right, this is talking about getting the type of recognition that you deserve, and being noticed for all your efforts. But what's interesting is I feel that you need to recognize this part of yourself in a way that you have previously not. I think that you've already gotten plenty of recognition from your team. I feel like you've already gotten plenty of big ups and congratulations and whatever, in whatever capacity, right? I feel like people do notice you as successful. People do regard you as someone that lives a very full life. Because I'm also feeling it's not really just about work. It's about being a successful person, having a very full, well-rounded lifestyle, right? What's interesting is the energy that you're getting initiated into this month is the thinking woman and all tied up. So I do feel that one, with doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, right? Because Libra innately is a masculine sign. And the thinking woman, I feel, is very tied to this Empress, in the sense that I feel like your feminine energy, instead of being in receptive mode, has been in very much more of a mental space. And what's interesting is she has all those books stacked on the floor, and I feel like this is speaking to, in some regard, to academia, or feeling like there's so much more to learn before you execute. Okay, there's something here about feeling the need to study, hit the books or go back to like the rule book. Like some of you just live by a particular code, and the thought of deviating from that is like too much. And what's interesting though is the card has a green scale to it. And there's no green really in this reading. This reading is primarily yellow and blue. So this is about speaking, right? The throat chakra, working in harmony with the solar plexus. And that's exactly what we were talking about in the beginning, and the need to know how to deal with different types of relationship, not just one-on-ones, right? Group dynamics, which actually, astrologically, Aquarius rules the group, the other. And then Sagittarius, where we are right now, really rules transpersonal. So you guys, you know what I mean? So it's kind of an interesting dynamic there. Now, with the thinking woman combined with all tied up, I feel like your mind on some level is not open to new ideas. I also feel like you've been mentally consumed about whether or not you are a success, whether or not you've thought this through, whatever this is. There may be something that you've been trying to execute for quite some time that has just left you kind of in a bind. I feel like some of you are mentally tapped out on where to go next with your job, like or your career or your overall life, because sometimes we feel like we've hit our peak, right? And it doesn't matter what our age is. If you feel like you've hit your peak, you're definitely at a loss of what to do next. Going back to school may be on the brain for some of you, but it's important to remember that that's not a cure-all, right? Some people are just interested in continuously learning, and that's fine. But if you don't actually want to do the work when it comes down to it, or the career, is formal education really that important? For others of you, I feel like you may have pigeonholed your skill set, or you feel like you've pigeonholed your skill set, so there's not a lot to expand out of. But what's interesting is this adds to 11, and your outcome is at 11. And so I feel like this month is really about balancing your inner masculine and inner feminine in order to act and receive just as much. Because I feel like they're both kind of at a lock right now. It's like, well, I don't know what else I could do, so I'm just not even going to think about it anymore. So there's a stop of receptivity, right? Not receiving new information, not receiving or being open to new possibilities. And then if you feel mentally like nothing else could come to you, why would you go forward towards anything on a masculine scale? So what you're being asked to release, we have the Seven of Swords with the rune Love and the Eight of Pentacles. So again, some of you have lost the love for your job a while ago, right? Or, which this is, I feel like, more upsetting. You may love your job, but it's just draining the life out of you, right? Or you could love what you do, but not the environment in which you do it with. So it kind of is like the thing of like, oh, I love being face-to-face with people every day, or I love making an impact, but, you know, you don't like the way in which you go about it. So if you've been trying to manifest a new job or a new career or a better work environment, I feel like you need to really write down what parts of your day you enjoy, what parts make you feel talented, what parts make you feel like you're valuable, and what gets you out of bed every day besides that paycheck, and then, you know, what you want to get rid of. Because the Seven of Swords with Love is really interesting. Also, I'm kind of getting the message that if you have a really fulfilling life outside of work, like, let's say you're married, or you have a really, you know, positive relationship, or you have a lot of friends, and, you know, maybe you have a side job or whatever, you just love your life outside of work. I almost feel like that has made you less motivated to change your job or to fix your toxic job, because it's like everything else is so bomb. You know what I'm saying? So it's like where as if you had no friends, or, you know, very little social life and didn't have anything fulfilling in life. Obviously, you'd be a lot more pressed to change your job, right? And that's just for some of you. But the Eight of Pentacles also talks about this idea of perfection and like idealism. So you may have this very, very, very particular idea of what you'd love to do, or what, like, you may want to tick every single box off of like, okay, if I'm going to get a new job, or if I'm going to focus all my energy on something else, I needed to have all of these things. Like, I'm not creating any change in my life just for something minor. And there needs to be more expansion, because again, I feel like with the Six of Wands here, there's a lot more benevolence and recognition that you need to do of yourself, because I feel like, again, I feel like this pigeonholy type of energy. And with the Seven of Swords and Love, sometimes our tendency to keep our head down and just plow through can, like being able to endure difficult situations doesn't always benefit us. Like, it does in the short term, but not in the long term. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to be strong, you know, if you're going to be someone that can endure, do it when taking risks. Do it when, you know, something happens out the blue. Don't push yourself to be in situations that make you ultimately feel like lackluster, okay? The door that's not open that was once closed, we have the Star with the rune Success, and we have Justice. So clearly, whatever your dream job, your dream lifestyle, your dream achievement is 100% possible. Especially now more than ever, but I feel that the shift that needs to happen is the mind opener. And maybe you needed that retrograde Mercury, maybe you needed Venus to go back direct in your sign, but the Star with Success is saying that there needs to be vulnerability. There needs to be a really big chance to be taken. Yes, I don't see the Fool here, but the Fool is also Aquarian energy. So I feel like you're really full right now, because the Star requires us to empty ourselves out, right? So I feel like you're also really full right now. And with the Justice here, I feel like you need to remember that Spirit will always take care of you and even things out. Because I feel like there's a fear of taking risks, because you don't know if you'd be able to get back even. Now, of course, if you live paycheck to paycheck, I'm not suggesting that you up and quit your job or completely kill off, you know what I mean, your ability to pay your bills or whatever. But I can attest, personally, and I know other people that can too, that there are some areas in my life that were just not willing to be successful, not willing to turn a profit, whatever, until I cut off those more draining means of income, or those more draining means of living. And it's scary. But what shows more commitment to the grand plan and to spirit and to yourself than kind of jumping off the cliff? You know what I mean? Because it really isn't even jumping off the cliff. In reality, you are jumping with a parachute. A parachute built on faith, a parachute built on skill, a parachute built on, you know, a lot more than I feel like you're giving yourself credit for. Because everything will work out. And I also feel like, make sure when you're writing your resume, or you are, you know, interviewing for jobs or talking to other people about what you would need in order to feel successful, in order to feel like you are using all of your skills, make sure you don't downplay yourself, and don't speak about yourself in a way that is very like plain. Like, don't just talk about, oh, I did this, this, and this at my job. Like, talk about the value that you added as well. Because it's funny, because the star is completely naked and the justice, you know, he's very overdressed. You know what I mean? He has a lot of robes on and whatnot. And there's this idea that, like, deep down under it all, you want something so much bigger than what you're settling for. And sometimes our comfort zone, you know, can be the death of us. So your current energy as it relates to all of this, in your head, we have the Empress with the Rune Journey. In your heart, the King of Pentacles. In your foundation, we have the Devil. So in your heart of hearts, I think a couple things. One, I think you need to consult potentially someone that you really admire on a financial and business scale, whether this be like a financial planner or someone who does the same thing as you do but is like several ranks ahead, like someone that you admire. You admire their lifestyle, you admire what they've achieved for themselves and things like that. Also, when I see the King of Pentacles in a heart space, and especially because of your outcome, there is a tendency to play it safe. Because the King of Pentacles wants to just do what is tried and true. He is a master, right? He's a master of the physical realm, but to the point that he has kind of safeguarded himself in the material. So this is kind of like when you don't feel safe doing things that you can't see, that you can't touch, that you can't quantify. And the King of Pentacles needs to remember, with this in your heart, I feel like you need to remember that you will always be safe. And it's okay to be more like the Queen of Pentacles and really go gung-ho on your value and your skill set, not in what you've already achieved. Because I also feel like there may be a feeling like, well, if you take this next risk, you're going to make less money or you're going to have less, like you're going to take a notch down. But sometimes, again, granted, if you need the money to pay all your bills, that's different. But sometimes taking like, you know, let's say you make $70,000 a year and you're miserable at your job and you find a job that will pay you $62,000. That's like your dream job. If that $8,000 difference, which is probably going to get lost in taxes, wouldn't put you out of house and home, why not take it as if you can't get a raise in 6 months? You know what I'm saying? Because with the Empress in your headspace and journey, I feel like you've been on a journey for quite a while, Libra, where this is about the softening of your thought process and the softening of the way that you approach life, as well as it's like softening in one area and like hardening in another. Because as important as pleasure is, as important as beauty is, as important as having all our ducks in a row, in a very, standard way is, there is still some type of refusal to claim how adaptable your mind is. Because with the Empress too, we have to have a thought process of, again, ability and faith and the ability to receive what we need. And it's like going from thinking like, oh, well, I have to have a stockpile of food or a stockpile of money, to I have everything that I've always needed, and if I don't have something right in the moment, I'll create it. Because there's this journey of coming also into your full skill set, your full potential. Because, the Empress, obviously being the mother energy, is also the idea that, what do mothers do? Like, when we think about a mother, what do we think? We think of that someone that can nurture, that can take care, right? And in your mind, and with the rune journey here, about the way that you move through life, there needs to be a lot more empathy towards yourself, about what you're willing to tolerate and the way that you think about what's possible for you. And with the Devil in your foundation, what are you willing to chain yourself to? And what do you need to break free from? Because, again, with journey as the overall, overarching theme here in your energy, the Devil with journey is saying that there has been a stagnation that occurs in fear, that you can easily remove yourself from bondage, that you can easily move yourself from, all tied up in the way that you think about your skills, the way that you think about your mind, the way that you think about what's capable and possible for you. And life happens outside of our comfort zone. Life happens when we take risks, right? And you need to know that overall, no matter what you do, you are going to be successful, and you are going to be recognized for the abilities and the innate talent that you have. And the Devil also talks about what we allow to control us. So, do we want to be controlled by the maybe of failure, the idea of being, someone that messed up or whatever? Or do we want to be the person that people look up to, because no matter how afraid they are, no matter how crazy an idea may seem, they go for it? Because living a full, exciting, passion-filled life is a priority. Spirit's advice is, again, the Six of Pentacles with the Seven of Pentacles. On the Seven of Pentacles, we have the rune Self. So again, with the Six of Pentacles here, one, I think now is a really good time to get your finances in order. Okay? I would pull back on your spending. And I know it's holiday season, but, people, we've obviously made holidays a consumerist type of time. But it's important to make sure that your money, as well as your time and energy, are going towards things that add value to your life. And with the rune Self here on the Seven of Pentacles, I feel like you need to reevaluate, again, where you've invested different finances, different whatevers, time, again, engagements, and how do you reap that benefit directly? What is it doing for you right now? Because again, if you're thinking about taking a risk where you have to quit your job and then wait for the new one to come, or what have you, that's going to require that you cut back on, things that you do merely for pleasure, like, getting a massage once a month and things like that. Also with the Seven of Pentacles here in Self as Spirit's advice, if you're confident in what you invest in, if you're confident in what you spend in and put into, right? Then why are you also worried about when it's going to manifest for you? Because there's something here about the Six of Pentacles, though we both have this, we have the scales in both. So having equality, obviously is important. But with the Six of Pentacles here, I feel like you really need to ask yourself, in what ways do you feel slighted by people or feel like you just don't get enough out of situations? And what toll does that take on you in the long run? Because I feel like you've been waiting for certain relationships or certain dynamics to pay off for quite some time, and they haven't, and yet you're just waiting for them to pay off. I feel like this is about making your own magic. You know what I mean? Like doing what it takes to get the payout, to get the reward. Okay? The most likely outcome moving into January, we have the Nine of Cups with the rune Standstill. And we have the Ace of Wands with the Ace of Cups. So I really like to see this initiation energy and this new beginning energy, especially since we had the Ace of Pentacles come up in the beginning. But the Nine of Cups with Standstill is really interesting because I feel like this is saying two things. One, because we have the Star here, it's important to stand in that space or sit into that space of knowing you can have whatever you want, right? And knowing that fulfillment and positivity and contentment, not comfortability, contentment, like really feeling full, is possible for you if you not only take action on the things that inspire you or seem financially and business savvy sound, but also resonate with your heart space, right? We have to move with the rhythm of our heart. We have to move with the waters of spirit. And I feel like this is saying you have to work with, again, masculine and feminine energy in unison. You know, this is the energy of co-creation around spirit. But also with the Nine of Cups here and Standstill, this is saying that if being comfortable and feeling emotionally padded is your priority, is what is most important to you, feeling like insulated, right? These new beginnings are going to pass you by because this feels like a padded room to me. But not like, oh, you got put in the psych ward, like, oh, this is just like your safety cocoon. Like that's what it feels like. And sometimes we need to be in isolation, right, in our little safety cocoon in order to receive the energy of initiation. But I feel like this is happening outside of life, like outside of that. And he does have his hands over his heart. So it's time to open up to the magic, okay? I'll be interested to see how that comes out at the mid-month. Libra, it's been real. I love you. Peace.